Hey guys, I decided, I actually just saw Antlers, and it's interesting because this is a movie I've been wanting to see for months, but they kept moving it back again and again. Finally, they released it October, and so I decided to go and watch it. I joked with my brother that I would, force him to come down to with me, so we could see it together. But we never did. Yeah, but I went and saw it anyways. And I was kind of let down. There were some things about it I enjoyed. The atmosphere. I love the atmosphere. It's kind of the perfect setting, at least for me, for a horror movie. It's very like moody, very dark, very bleak. The place it takes place, the town it takes place in, I believe it was Oregon. And if I recall correctly, this is a town that's been affected by like the opioid crisis, which I really don't know anything about. But the father in the movie that gets infected, he's actually, when he gets infected, he's running I believe it was a meth lab. And because it was a meth lab, obviously illegal, he was doing it in this really like run down, I think it was a mine, and yeah, it's, I guess you could say, the perfect spot for him to get possessed, but yeah, it's really raining most of the time, very muddy, cold, obviously, and just, I really think the perfect setting for a horror movie. So I kind of like that aspect. Another thing I enjoyed, somewhat, the main female character, she has just gotten back. She grew up in this town and she ultimately left it. And it's soon revealed that the reason why she left it was because her father was abusive. Physically abusive, since he broke her arm, but it's kind of hinted at that probably maybe she was sexually abused by her father, in one particular scene where she's kind of having this flashback, if you will. But she ultimately ends up leaving the town, but in the process leaves her brother behind, who is younger than her, and kind of leaves him with the abusive father, so that he's kind of the only one, so he has to take his father's wrath, I guess. And this is kind of one of her demons she has to deal with in the movie, and kind of one of the things that are straining her and her brother's relationship, and it ultimately explains why she becomes very involved with this child who she believes is being abused by his father. And so she kind of becomes obsessed with trying to figure out what's happening in this kid's life. And it kind of also explains why she makes certain decisions that you might call stupid. And it's kind of explained because she's trying to, in a way, make up for what she did to her brother. She's trying to stop this from happening to another kid. So I did like that they tried to do that. Ultimately, though, I think it fell flat, at least for me. Maybe it's just, I think it might be the dialogue. The dialogue was just so flat and kind of boring, and so I really just wasn't into this as much. Will you sit down? Sit down. Here. Lay down. Come on, lay down. I did think the kid who played the main kid was a pretty good actor. He did very good at playing the really just depressed, scared kid, which is not always true for kids in, movies, but I actually like the kid in this movie. Going back to the main character and how she was abused by her father, you really get kind of a sense that they're trying to make an allegory between, because between the two characters, the main female character and the kid, because towards the end of the movie, the kid, he has to, in a way, face off against, I don't know if you call it his demon, but he has to make a choice, I guess. It was originally his father who got infected, possessed, whatever you want to call it. But then it spread to his younger brother, and he had to, it's ultimately revealed that his father's the one who did it. It's blatantly obvious his father does care for him. So when he realized he was getting affected, he locked himself up, or he put a deadbolt on the door so that the kid can lock him up and keep him in there. And then eventually the brother gets affected. He goes in there with the father. And despite the fact that it was obvious that, or at least obvious to me, that the more they fed the father and the kid, the more, they became affected and continued to become worse. He kept doing it because obviously he loved his father and his brother. They were the only things that he had left. And so, despite the fact it felt like he knew that what he was doing kept aggravating the problem, he kept doing it because he cared for his family. But towards the end, she kind of has to talk to him and convince him that he can't change them. And so, it's kind of I think they're trying to make a parallel between the two, because she's talking about how he can't change them, and I think she said it's not his fault or something like that. It really just feels like she was talking about herself in that she couldn't change her father and what he did. And so yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting. I think they're trying to make this parallel between abuse and not being, it's not your responsibility to try to fix your abusers. If you did watch the trailers, you'll notice that, you'll know that it's actually supposed to be based on the myth of the Wendigo. I admit I didn't know much about the Wendigo when I was going into this, other than I know it's based on a Native American myth about man eating human flesh, and I think they become possessed by a demon, or at least that's how I read it. But that was pretty much all I knew. So I was kind of excited to watch this to see if they kind of expanded on that myth. But, they really didn't. It really just felt they used it. It was a means and end to kind of introduce this monster. Because they had like 5-minute scene where they kind of give a very brief history of the Wendigo, and in this movie they connected like the I don't know if they're just trying to explain the myth of the Wendigo, or they try to imply that colonialism was the kind of cause of the myth for the Wendigo, because men would come in and destroy destroy this town, this environment, and just, I don't know if that was just supposed to be an allegory, supposed to be like an allegory for the Wendigo. It's implied that the Wendigo myth was supposed to be an allegory for colonialism. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure if that's what they were getting at, but I really do wish they would have gotten more into the myth itself, because I don't know much about it and I was kind of hoping to learn more about it. But another thing I really did like about this movie, and it kind of reminded me of The Ritual in this sense, it's the fact that they didn't outright show us the monster in the beginning. They really just built up the anticipation, the suspense, the terror throughout the movie when it came to this creature. They used the sounds that it makes. And it reminded me very much of the creature's call reminded me of a moose call. Moose calls are terrifying as fuck. And so that was really what was reminding me of it. And it was creepy as hell in this movie. And so that's kind of, they use that call to kind of build up this terror. And then we'll get silhouettes and shadows of this creature throughout the movie. Until the very end, where we finally get this actual reveal of this creature. And even then, it was creepy as fuck. Because, you know, he's, first time we see it, he's eating a man. And he has his head bent, but when he lifts his head up, the man's that he was eating from, well, his peeled off face is like covering the face of the creature, and then it slowly slides off. And just the fact that the first image we have of it is that, and then it's revealed the creature itself is also terrifying. It's just like, it's just a perfect way to really make you remember this creepy creature. And so I did enjoy that aspect as well. But overall, just my very broad thoughts on this movie. I just felt like the dialogue fell flat for most of it, and the story, the way the movie's written just fell flat. Had a lot of good ideas, but it just wasn't able to connect well in the, you know, this really well written movie, at least for me. But yeah, so I don't know if you'd say, I guess I would call it or rate it a 3. That's why I usually rate any movie that doesn't particularly wow me, but I don't hate it, so I just give it a 3 for now. So those are my thoughts on Antlers. If you have seen it yourself and you want to give some thoughts on it, just yeah, let me know down in the comments. I'm gonna interested to see if you had any thoughts that are different than mine. Maybe it'll help me see it in a different light. Yeah, so if you did like this video, give it a like, subscribe to the channel to get notifications for all the videos I'll be doing. And that being said, you guys have a nice night, stay safe out there, I'll talk to you later, bye.